Reykjavik, Iceland is a hip, vibrant city and jumping off point for some amazing tours. We were lucky to have a last-minute overnight stay at this port, which presented obvious opportunities, but also some surprising challenges too. Did DIY work here? We have port and car rental details. Let's jump in. I'm Troy, and this is the Port Lowdown. Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland at the southwest of the island. As a major city, it's a destination unto itself with the impressive Hallgrimskirkja Church, plus the museum and restaurant-loaded Old Town. But it's also an important base for side trips, particularly since many travelers either start or end their cruises here and have extra days on hand. Now, the two most famous side trips are the Blue Lagoon, of course, probably Iceland's most famous geothermal pool, and the Golden Circle, a 3 to 6 hour loop drive that goes through some seriously impressive scenery, such as the Gullfoss waterfall, geyser, and Thingvellir National Park. Now, there are two port areas, Miobakki, which is at the center of town and accommodates the smaller ships. Luxury lines tend to have smaller ships, so there's one advantage to them: you sometimes get closer to town. And the much bigger Skarfabakki docks 312 and 315, some 5 kilometers east of the center, and where most ships will dock, particularly if this is your embarkation point. Skarfabakki is yet again another industrial area. It looks like construction's going on to build new terminals. But in the meantime, you got these tents, which serve just fine. We docked at 312, which involves walking through this tunnel to get to the tented terminal area. Bathrooms and seating are here, but it's bare bones functional without much creature comfort. Get in, get out. Speaking of getting out, this big area will be your transport hub. Taxis control this center section. Now walk past this area, cross the street, and you'll find the tour bus pickup area with the ho-ho buses standing out like a beacon. There's also a small parking area here, usually for the local ferry. We decided to get a car rental to explore the Golden Circle. We paid 38,284 Icelandic kroner for a 24-hour rental, which is about 280 USD as of recording. Total gas before returning was 3,971 kroner, or about 30 USD. Factor in parking fees to attractions and food, and you're looking at about 120 per person. Not bad. Our intention was to keep the car overnight in port. The dock was close enough to the city center, so there's no need for an expensive hotel. Also, we assumed parking would be available, since we heard varying reports of parking at the port, so we took a chance. So first thing after getting off the ship, we had to get to town and find our car rental office. Car rental companies are scattered about the city, with a lot congregated around the domestic airport over here, and this area, just north of the old harbor, where a lot of newish tourist attractions like flying over Iceland and Aurora Reykjavik are also located. If you don't have much time, you could just taxi here. But we booked our car at an office location fairly close to the city center, so we could use the budget option of getting there, the free shuttle. The shuttle pickup spot is right in front of the tent terminal, just to the left as you exit. This bus will save you a 30 to 40 minute walk to the town center, which, to be fair, can be a pleasant experience if you're into that. You just follow the water north, along with locals riding bikes and whatnot. The 5-minute ride drops you off in front of the HARPA concert hall. Just regard this building as the hub for town, although there's much more to this building than just looking cool. More on that in a bit. You also have the option to walk 5 to 10 minutes outside the terminal area for local bus number 16. But when you have a free shuttle right there, why do that? Needless to say, this option is popular, so expect long lines. They also don't run 24/7, so check the schedule. Other than that, it's the no-brainer, go-to choice for town touring. We got off at HARPA and walked for about 20 minutes to our rental office, Blue Car Rental. This area was pretty easy to walk. Flat, smooth sidewalks, lots of diversions to see along the way, like local history, Ferris wheels, and Michael Richards. Pickup was super easy. We checked in at the front, then came around the back where you find your keys via a lockbox area with a code emailed to you. The parking area was just across and mapped out pretty clearly. From getting off at HARPA to driving away, allow for about 35 to 45 minutes depending on how quickly you can walk. Now, we got the full insurance offered by the rental company, which is our general policy when renting a car overseas. Why, when you have a credit card that provides coverage? Time. If anything goes wrong, it's a lot faster to resolve it with locally provided coverage than dealing with a third party. We picked easy and time efficient, even if it's extra money. The car was good. It handled well and even had a self-drive feature which came in handy for long stretches. We got the GPS but found out our cell signal was pretty strong throughout the route, so we never used it. Oh well. You drive on the right here, like the States, with the roads well maintained, but a single lane for much of it. Kinda reminded me of road trips to Arizona or Utah. But, smaller. The first leg of our Golden Circle trek went northeast for about 45 minutes to Thingvellir National Park. Getting there presented some pretty amazing vistas. The park is famous for sitting on top of the mid-Atlantic ridge that separates the Eurasian and North American tectonic plates, which makes for some surreal hiking. In the same park is the Foss waterfall, a mini falls by Iceland standards, but gorgeous. Just ask the other tourists. The infrastructure at the park is top-notch. Modern, huge bathroom facilities, paths with excellent signage, walkways with elevated wooden sidewalks, a slick visitors center with helpful staff and maps, and a small cafe and souvenir area, and a seamless and ticketless means of paying for parking.
They read your license plate.
I see.
Okay, so private car, and you're gonna get your license.
Oh, so you just pay? You don't have no ticket?
You don't have to, yes.
It's just basically
They email it to you, and they track it that this particular car already paid.
Nice. And as we keep saying about Iceland, it's cold, windy, sometimes rainy, and windy. Bundle up. And some areas have some seriously aggressive flies, especially around the waterfall. You could spend quite a few hours exploring here. For the avid hiker, this could be an all-day or at least a half-day outing. But there was more stuff to see. Instead, we headed for Gullfoss waterfall, which promised a pretty massive vista. It didn't disappoint. Some notes. If the signs are to be believed, there's actually a pickpocket problem here. Also, I saw a few people disregard these signs and take selfies over the edges outside the safe zone. Daredevils or fools, regardless, I can see the falls just fine from here, thanks. There are several trails that take you progressively closer to the falls, where the deafening roar of the falls and the mist can be overwhelming. Again, infrastructure here is excellent and it's free to enter. A pretty decent sized parking area next to a big souvenir store with some basic sundries and nice bathrooms. And the restaurant here is pretty good. We had the local stew and fish and chips, which was well worth the price. We worked our way back to Reykjavik, taking our time to enjoy the various sights along the road. This is what a car can do that a tour can't, a chance to stop and sneak in some side experiences, like these horses along the road. Or checking out these geothermal plants, drawing from the island's volcanic power, not to mention this friendly reminder to drive safely. So we got back to Reykjavik in the early evening. We figured we'd park the car at the port and return the car the next day. Turns out it was a little more complicated than that. Remember that parking area near the tour bus stop? Well, there's good news and bad news. Yes, the parking area is kind of free and okay to use if there's a space available. I say kind of because no one could tell me if this was officially true or not. Can people park here overnight?
Overnight, I think so. I mean, I've never seen one get a fine here. So, do you see the red Toyota Yaris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's on the red.
Right.
That's illegal.
Okay.
Because that's a walking space.
At your own risk, but if there's space, go for it. Just be sure to get rid of your car the next morning, as early as possible. Granted, we didn't see any signs telling us who to contact in case we got towed, which was kind of like, we need that just in case. At any rate, there wasn't space. Since there were no other parking options elsewhere at the port or in the immediate area, we had to park in the town center, like at the HARPA garage overnight. But then we'd have to take the shuttle or cab back and forth to the port, get the car again, pay for parking, and then return the car. So we decided just return it that evening. We got our experience of buying gas at this local station, which was more or less a standard self-serve experience.
Maximum refuel amount, I'll just go with 5,000.
You have to pre.
Yeah, you have to pre-approve a certain amount, I think.
Just no restrooms here. This was an after-hours drop, but no worries. We parked and used the same lockbox system to return it. It's quite a good system.
Okay. There. And then you lock it. That's it.
Now the real problem was getting back to the ship. Where we were, we had a 1-hour walk back to the port itself. The shuttle bus from HARPA stopped running when we got back to town, so that's out. So here's a tip. Have a cab company number on hand to either call for a ride or pre-arrange one. We didn't have one, so it was a bit of a scramble to figure this out. We found this food court after dropping off the car, so we had some yummy Indonesian food, but no one could help us with a cab. But we got lucky and crossed paths with some fellow cruisers who did have a cab number, so we used the same cabbie to come back and pick us up. Point is, there's no rideshare here, so you'll need some kind of official cab company number to get around after hours. Here's the number we used, and it was quite good. Official and professional, they drop you right off at the port entrance. By the way, if you value the DIY experience on your cruise, be sure to like and subscribe for our port reports, ship tours, and tips, uploaded weekly. The next morning, we had a mid-afternoon sail away, so we headed for HARPA via the free shuttle. HARPA is the city's pride, a gleaming concert hall that offers a children's play area, tourist info, a VR experience room, art installations, afternoon concerts, and building tours. There's quite a lot to take in. They just have an expensive bathroom downstairs. Just next door, you'll find this convenient ATM center, the biggest we've seen in Europe so far. And scooter rentals via the ever-present Hop app. The immediate area of the Old Town boasts loads of museums, many within a few minutes walk from HARPA, such as the Reykjavik Art Museum, the National Gallery of Iceland, the Viking Settlement Exhibition, and this punk rock museum in a small former public toilet. But for us, we wanted to take in the streets at a slow pace, which is quite a pleasure in itself. The main city attraction, of course, is the iconic Hallgrimskirkja Church, which is free to enter and may even have a music recital. The walk there is a bit hilly, but not too bad. There's plenty of interesting architecture to take in along the way too. Cluster stores can be quite funky, like this one, or restaurants that are quite funky, like that one. Plenty to keep you busy for a day. Heck, HARPA alone could be a half day if you take in some of its performances or tour offerings. When you want to return to your ship, just note that some buses only go to dock 312 or 315, so confirm that the bus goes to your cruise line. While there's certainly no shortage of tour options here, we felt the DIY option was best for us with the car rental. It opened up possibilities otherwise closed to us, and we could go at our own pace. And the city's main attractions are reasonably close to each other, so walking around the town is definitely a must. If you have any thoughts on this port, please let us know. We'd love to trade notes.